Hey, what's going on, everyone? Today I'm going to be going over different ways to grind silver lions. The first thing I'm going to go with would be the premium side first. Then I'll show you there are some options I guess you can use for non-premium, but we'll do the premium side first and then the non-premium. The first thing I would highly recommend getting first if you're wanting to grind silver lions is to get a premium time, like a premium account, which would be up here on this little diamond. And occasionally you want to like check this every so often, but I know for sure in like December and July they usually do a 50% off on the entire year of premium and the 90-day premium. And I know for sure for like the entire year premium is about $40 whenever it's half off, and then the 90-day is around like $16 or $17, at least for PC wise. I don't know exactly what the prices are for console. It might be the same pricing, but this would be the best option to get rather than just getting a premium vehicle. But I'd highly recommend getting this first. For other than that option, you could get a premium vehicle. And one vehicle that I recommend, because I just got this one just a few days ago or something like that, would be let's go over to America and we're going over to the Army. It would be the T-29. This thing is pretty dang good. It has really good, it has pretty decent pin with it, with a 105. You get 350 cals on this thing, like 2 that are mounted in the turret, and then you get one that's on a rooftop that can go after it in the airplanes if needed. It has decent mobility for a big tank, for a heavy tank, and with me having a premium count and then also having this premium vehicle, I've been able to get about 100,000 silver lions per match with this vehicle, with just this vehicle. I have my other vehicles down here, as you can see in my lineup, but majority of the time I usually only use this one and occasionally this plane. And this plane, the A2D1, would probably be your best option for like America to get silver lions and then also grind the majority of the tech tree, mainly because you don't really have to mess with any of the top tier kind of jet stuff with this plane. You still will go against some jets, but there are quite a bit of times where you can outperform the jets with this airplane, mainly because it's a turboprop. But for America-wise, for grinding stuff, for ground and air, I'd highly recommend the A2D1 and the T-29. If you get both of these, you can make some pretty good silver lions in ground realistic pretty quick. Now, another option also for America would probably be going with a helicopter and getting this premium A60, the Apache, this premium Apache. Either this one or this one, whichever one you want to get. And with these, you can go into the helicopter PvE mode. And the way you get into that is, let me go back up here. So you go into, select your game mode, go into simulator battles, and then go over to PvE mode for helicopters. And with this game mode, you're just going to be going against bots, no players, and it can last for quite a while. So, you know, if you do it for a good while, you'll get pretty decent amount of silver lions going through helicopters. Now, another option also, most people will not want to do this. Another pretty decent option would be going with naval, and preferably getting some kind of higher tier ship. For America wise, I would not recommend the Helena. It's not really that good. The ship I would probably recommend would be the Arkansas. It has pretty decent armor, has 6 dual 12-inch cannons, and you can lay down some hurt with these guns. The main reason why I was kind of recommending naval wise is if you look at the Silver Lions game, 1800% Silver Lions game. So with that, you can make a lot of Silver Lions by just playing naval. It's gonna take a little while. Just whenever you're playing naval, shoot at one ship, hit every ship with your main guns at least once. That way you get a lot of kill assists. That's why I would recommend for anyone that's wanting to do America's premium stuff for ground, T-29, for air realistic or ground realistic for a plane, A2D1. If you're wanting to do the helicopter PvE mode, one of these 2 Apaches. And then if you want I would say probably a more calmer situation, do naval and get like the Arkansas. Let's go over to Germany. Let's start with the naval also for Germany. And for Germany, I'd recommend the Nassau. This is a very good little battleship. It has really good armor. The only downside about it is it has the short 288 millimeter cannons, and whenever you go against some of the other battleships, you don't really have the best time penetrating their armor. Now, whenever you go against like a destroyer or a cruiser, this one's really good at taking those out. Same thing with the Silver Lions game. With this one, 1800%. So just being in the match and hitting all your targets with one salvo each, and you get a lot of Silver Lions. Like, I think usually in each naval match is around like anywhere from 60 to 100,000 Silver Lions per match with a premium ship. So that's another option for you. Now for aviation wise for Germany, I probably would recommend the Ju-288C, mainly because it got, well, even before its buff, it was also one of the best options for making Silver Lions. But since it got buffed, where it can carry two 250 kilogram bombs in it, and each of these bombs you can take out one base per bomb. So before you could only take out one base, like if you just took bombs, but now you can take out the two bases really quick, because like with this plane, when you spawn in, you just dive for your bases to get to them really fast, and then once you drop your bombs, you just turn around and dive back to your airfield. The majority of the time, there's not really any planes that can keep up with you when you're in this plane, because it's pretty fast. But you have to make sure that you're either you need to be slightly diving down to be able to outrun enemy planes. If you level off, they're going to be able to catch you. But for aircraft wise, for Germany, for grinding Silver Lions and the tech tree if you needed to, the Ju-288C would probably be your best option. Now let's go over to helicopters. Now this is the helicopter I use for grinding Silver Lions the most, mainly because it has one of the highest Silver Lion multipliers on it. Out of, I think, not all the helicopters, but let's take a look real quick. No. Okay, so that one has the highest one. Okay, for helicopters wise, this is the one I usually use for grinding Silver Lions, mainly because it's one of the lower tier premium helicopters that has a really high Silver Lions multiplier on it. And with this, the loadout I usually take with it for doing the PvE mode is this loadout right here. As you can see, you get two 500 kilogram bombs, and you can take the little pods, the rocket pods, and then these ATGMs. And with this loadout, what I usually do in the PvE mode, you're gonna see enemy AA tanks. So I would recommend using the ATGMs, take out the AA tanks from a distance at, I would say, 4 kilometers or more of the distance, because if you get any closer, they're gonna snipe you out of air because they have really good accuracy. I would use those ATGMs, knock them out, and then you can use the rocket pods to take out the other smaller targets after you take out the AA tanks. And if there's anything left, you can drop the 500 kilogram bombs on them. But the way I usually do the PvE mode for helicopters is I usually go straight for the bases that spawn in, and I'm pretty sure it's like 2 full payloads worth of ordnance to take out one base. And in this PvE mode, your ordnance will refill kind of like if you're like in an arcade match. So you don't have to like go back and land or anything. You can just drop everything on the target and it'll refill you like in 30 or 40 seconds. But I usually will take out all the bases first. Then after all the bases don't stop spawning in, then I'll go after the ground targets. And doing that strategy like that, and if you happen to have any kind of boosters or anything like that, I can get around 250,000 Silver Lions a match with it. Now it does take a while for doing that. It might take like 45 minutes or something like that per match, possibly. It just depends on your teammates, how fast they take out targets and whatnot. But the helicopter PvE mode is I'd say one of the best options. Now I would say it's probably your best option, mainly because you don't really have to deal with any enemy players. So it's more of a relaxing game mode, I'd say. Me personally, I'd say your second best option would probably be naval, as long as you have a higher tier kind of like ship. But okay, let's go over to ground vehicles for Germany. For ground vehicles, for pretty much anyone, new or has played a lot, I would highly recommend getting this little premium pack right here, because it gives you 3 premiums. It gives you the Oust, the West, and then the Ostwin Oust for 1 pack. And for anyone that's new, this is a very, very great starter pack. And I did a video on this earlier, and I'll have it posted up at the top somewhere. But this vehicle, or these vehicles, are very good, especially the Oust variant. It has a lot of extra armor on it compared to the normal Tigers, so you can bounce quite a bit of your enemy shells with this tank. For Germany ground wise, I'd highly recommend getting this little set. That way you can research a good majority of the tech tree. I'd say if you are more acquainted with WarThunder, probably would go with the Tiger 2H. This is also a really good option too, because I can get anywhere from 60 to 100,000 silver lines with this one also, if you have a pretty decent match with it. So this is also another option too if you wanted. I would probably not recommend, at least anyone that's brand new, I would not recommend any top tier vehicles. Mainly because if you're brand new, you're only going to have like, one of each of the, or, either this one or this one. And you might only get like 1 or 2 kills. And you might only get 10, maybe 20,000 silver lines like that. So this would not be your best option for anyone that's new. Your best options would be like what I was saying a while ago, would be this little pack right here where you get 3 premium vehicles instead of just 1. Or if you're a little bit used to the game, you can get this Tiger 2. Either one of these packs right here would be your best options for Germany, for ground wise, for grinding silver lines, and then also grinding the tech tree. Let's go over to Russia. Now, for Russia, for ground wise, I probably would recommend for newer people, probably the T-34-100. This is a very good option for grinding some silver lines and then also grinding the tech tree. This is a pretty good vehicle. The only downside is you don't have really good armor, so you have to be kind of sneaky with it somewhat. But you do have a 100mm gun, and that allows you to go through a good majority of your targets. Another option would be the IS-6. When this vehicle, when I first got it, it was at 6.7, and this thing was really, really, really good, because you could bounce pretty much any shells that you, or any tank shells you came across, pretty much, besides maybe a heat round. And you also had a pretty decent gun, because you had a 122mm gun, so you could also go through anything if you wanted. But since it's been up to 7.7, it's not like the best option for you, but it's still a really good vehicle. They also gave it an upgrade on its shell, because it got access to this shell right here, the BR-47 1D, and you're able to get 230mm of pin with this shell with almost 200 grams of explosive mass. And if that shell enters a tank, the tank's gonna be dead. But I would say for ground wise, for newer people, I would highly recommend the T-34-100. For people that are more used to WarThunder, IS-6. And then let's go over to helicopters. Helicopters wise, Russia only has 1 helicopter that's premium, which is this Ka-50, which is actually a pretty decent helicopter. Because for one, let's take a little look at it real quick. As you can see with this helicopter, it doesn't have a tail rotor. So if the enemy happens to hit your tail a little bit, you won't start just spinning out of nowhere. Because with this helicopter, it only needs these 2 blades to be able to fly and keep its nose pointed in a certain direction. But another thing also with this helicopter too is you get access to these missiles, these ATGMs. And these, I'm pretty sure, have 10-kilometer range on them. Yeah, right here. 10-kilometer range on these missiles. And that's one thing that's good about like this, is because a lot of times there's a lot of enemy AA tanks that have heat seeker kind of like missiles. And, well, those tanks won't be able to lock you unless you're within probably about 4 or 5 kilometers of them. Now, with this one, you can outrange them. And there's also some laser-guided anti-aircraft tanks that have missiles, and they can only reach 8 kilometers. And with this helicopter, you can outrange them with this helicopter. So, it's still a really good option to pick for ground battles, at least. You can also use it for the PvE mode because it can carry bombs also. See, like, one thing I usually will take is kind of like this loadout right here. I'll use this, go destroy an enemy bases in the PvE mode, and then these missiles are good at taking out ground targets, but also they're pretty decent at hitting aircraft too. They have pretty good turning capabilities. So I'd highly recommend this helicopter also for grinding silver lions wise. Me personally, the one I've used the most would still be the German premium MI-24. That would probably be your best option for helicopter for the PvE mode, but this is also a really good second option. Now let's go over to aviation right quick. Now for aviation, this is one tech tree that I would probably recommend a top tier vehicle, mainly because with this Su-25, it's not a very complicated top tier vehicle compared to some of the other ones. Mainly because this one, for one, it doesn't go supersonic. It's still a slow plane. Another thing too good about it is it can take a hit. There's been multiple times where I take like 3 missiles and the plane is still somehow able to fly. But with this plane, you can take out, let's see here, show you right quick. The loadout I usually will take will be like this loadout right here. 2 heat seekers, 4 bombs, and then 4 gun pods. The reason why I go with the 4 gun pods is mainly because your gun doesn't get a lot of ammo, so just having the 4 extra guns helps take down enemy planes easier. And a lot of times, people like to do head-ons with you. For some reason, they like to do head-ons with the Su-25s. It doesn't really make sense, especially whenever you have the 4 gun pods on. But having this loadout, you can take out an entire base, because it takes 4 of these bombs to take out 1 base. And then once you take out your base, you could turn around and try to help your teammates out with, maybe they're getting in like a dogfight with a F5C or something like that. Then you can come in and just tear off everything of the F5C with these gun pods and the main gun. Another thing also with these heat seekers, if you're going to be kind of a rat with them, since a lot of people like to do head-ons with you, if you don't want to use your guns right off the bat to kind of possibly waste ammo if they dodge or anything, another thing you can do too is wait until they're within 1 kilometer of you when they're doing a head-on, and then launch the missile at them. And once you launch that missile, it will, I would say probably 70% of the time, it will hit its target. Unless the enemy just dumps out all their flares pretty much. But this is a good option to try to do that. And then for blue water, I haven't really messed with Russia yet, so I don't really know which one to recommend for it. So I'm not gonna really go into detail with that, but I would say, okay, now to go into the non-premium side, the way I would probably do it would be going with bombers, like long-range strategic bombers, and just going after enemy bases. Do that, it's pretty simple. The only downside is you might get shot down quite a bit from enemy fighters and whatnot, so it'd probably be best to have a teammate or someone that you can play with to escort you to the bases. I'd say your second option would probably be the helicopters, still in the PvE mode. The only downside though, before you can get access to the helicopters, you have to research a rank 5 or rank 5 tank or aircraft. So it's going to take you a little bit to get to this area, but doing this bomber method, you can get the rank 5 fairly quickly by just bombing targets, and then you can get to the helicopter area quick. And once you do that, then you can just use the helicopters in PvE mode, and you don't really have to worry about enemy people or enemy players shooting you down and whatnot. You can just kind of sit in the back and take out targets with missiles. I would say your third option probably would be naval still, using almost any of the naval ships because they get pretty good multipliers majority of the time. especially once you get to 4.7. Once you get to 4.7 and bigger, you get pretty good bumps in your silver lions gain. That, for vehicle wise, that's what I would recommend. I'd probably recommend mainly bombers, and then you can go into helicopters after getting a rank 5 aircraft. And if you wanted to, you can use naval if you need to. But let's go over some other options for non-premium. And then for non-premium, it'd be like boosters. If you get any of these boosters while you're playing. Another thing would be wagers. Wagers would be a very good option also, because some of these you can make up to 500,000 silver lions with these. See, like let's see, like with best squad wager, you can make 250,000 silver lions in 10 matches if you get best squad 10 times in a row. And then for this destroy 10 units wager, you can get 500,000 silver lions in like air realistic, and all you have to do is go destroy 10 ground targets. Like if you go and you're flying around, you see like the little artillery guns and stuff like that that are sitting on the ground. Just destroy 10 of those. Like make sure you have this activated, and whenever you activate one of these orders, it'll cost 10,000 silver lions. And make sure that you have this at the maximum amount, otherwise you're going to be wasting these wagers. But as long as you go in an air realistic match and go and destroy 10 ground targets, then you do that 10 times, you get 500,000 silver lions. So this is a really good option for non-premium people. Would be orders, or not orders. These wagers. Then another option would be these orders. You can do like anti-mech would be a pretty good one too. You got these AA. You got all these orders that would be a very good option. One thing is never use blind hunt in ground battles. Only use it in air battles. Because if you use it in ground battles, you're pretty much wasting it. But that's what I would recommend for non-premium vehicle, or people that want to not spend anything for getting silver lions. I would recommend getting the premium count first, if anything, and then if you still needed something else, get you one of the premium vehicles that I recommended you from these top 3 nations. That would probably be your best options. There are some other premium vehicles with other countries and stuff like that. I haven't really got to mess with them a whole bunch yet, but I would say for US, Germany, and Russia, that would be your best options, and probably your more like the funner or funnest kind of like BRs and stuff like that. But that would be pretty much every way that you can get silver lions. There is one way that you can also get silver lions. This is not a way that you will want to do it, and it's not a good idea to do it. And you can come up here and click on the silver lions and purchase them with golden eagles. This is not a good idea, because you get 1.3 million for 3,000 golden eagles. That's not a good option, because let's see here, you're gonna have to spend $25 to be able to get that. Yeah, that's not a good option. You can use that $25 to either get you premium account for 90 days. Like it's not even on sale, and you can get it for the 90-day premium account. This would be your better option to get, rather than just getting the 1.3 million silver lions, because you can get that 1.3 million probably in like a day or two, and you get 90 days worth of premium account. So that's what I would recommend doing. Is main thing is getting the premium account. And getting the premium account, you also don't have to spend silver lions on repairing any of your vehicles. So that saves you silver lions that way also. That's pretty much everything for silver lions wise. Hope that you enjoyed it, and I will catch you next time, and good luck grinding, and hope everyone's day goes great.